For this year, I didn't do one either.
Yeah, but I don't know if we'll go. She's not gonna go.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Guess who's playing tomorrow? Yes.
Okay.
Bobby will clear it out for Jack.
Okay.
But Bobby does always Thursday for some reason. And then
It's too.
Convenience.
Start. Ready? Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next one. Do you have a motion for the approval of the minutes of the meeting held October 14th?
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. There are no one has signed up to address the school board. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approval of the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Good news report. We also have a visiting student from USF, I believe. Kim, is that you? Thank you for coming. Oh, we have more. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Good evening. This evening, I wanted to bring forth a document that we created recently. We had an opportunity to discuss partnerships with other like-sized school districts across the Midwest recently, and as part of that conversation, we were asked to develop an infographic to sort of define the partners and the important role they play in the success of our students. This exercise was a really great opportunity for us to think about the many partnerships that exist in the Sioux Falls School District and also help us recognize that not all partnerships are the same. There are a variety of partnerships, big and small, and they all have great meaning to the success of our students. Some are intentionally woven into the fabric of our curriculum. Some of these partnerships are in existence to support social emotional needs of our students, and others serve as sort of the icing on the cake to help students build a sense of school pride and belonging. So we developed, and I say we, actually I want to recognize Carly Youthy, our multimedia specialist for the district. She developed this idea for the infographic, and I think her depiction of a tree with the students sitting underneath it is a great example of showing the growth that we hope that our partnerships establish for our students. And if you look closely, each of the leaves on that tree has a logo inside of it. The logo of each organization describes a partnership that has been developed over time. The blue leaves represent the partnerships that fall in the government and nonprofit category. The yellow leaves represent the support of our medical partners and those agencies that walk beside our students and our staff to provide mental health services. And the green leaves represent businesses, faith-based organizations, and individual donors who support our students in some way. So developing this infographic helped us realize that our public schools could simply not be as strong as they are without partnerships. And while this is a relatively comprehensive list, we know that there are other partnerships that exist, and we couldn't possibly put them all in one graphic. But it does give us a chance to pause and recognize the significant partnerships that exist. We know that these partners, as I said, bring forth a variety of expertise to help us achieve our mission to educate and prepare each student to succeed in a changing world. So this exercise, I think, was a good example of really stopping and thinking about what we have and why our public schools are as strong as they are. And this is just a depiction of all of those relationships that we have that make our schools great. There's a second page to this that sort of lists those partnerships as well, so I'll slide down the graphic here. And partnerships are developing each and every day. Honestly, we have conversations in the works with many organizations that soon could be placed up on this list as well. So while we recognized it's a quite comprehensive list, there are certainly others out there that serve as partners. So be happy to add it. And wouldn't it be great if our tree was so big we couldn't possibly put it on one page? So just a great example, I think, of all of the relationships we've established to support our students.
Thank you. Is this going to be on our website or anything?
We will find a place for it under our district on our website. And again, at the risk of leaving someone out, if somebody sees a partnership that's there that we should be highlighting, certainly we'll do our best to add that to it. Not meant to be an exclusive list by any means, but when we looked at the three categories, the government list and nonprofits, the medical and mental health, and then also our business partners, along with faith-based organizations and even personal donations. I know Washington has a family that donates money to purchase T-shirts for all the students to build that pride in community. And so we recognize that partnerships don't always come with a dollar amount established or attached, but yet they are valuable to us regardless of the way they look. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Moving on, no new conflicts of interest to report. Do I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of the motion to approve the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now to the supplemental consent agenda, items 9A, 1 through 4, claims to Sanford. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries with 2 abstentions, Board Member Ryder and Board Member Mickelson. Now to 9B, claims to Avera McKinnon. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
A motion is second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries with 1 abstention from Board Member Parker. Now to the reports of the Superintendent, Dr. Maher.
Well, thank you. We have 4 reports to give you tonight. The first report is the official 2019 end of September enrollment report. Here to give us that report is our Director of Information and Technology Services, Ryan Knudsen.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to report the 2019-2020 fall enrollment numbers. The numbers for the K-12 fall enrollment are based on the student FTE calculation for the fall funding date, which is the last Friday in September. These numbers were generated based on the enrollments as of Friday, September 27th, and work with the state continues to finalize any overlaps or adjustments. Just checked on that recently. We're almost done with all of our overlaps, and we'll have that done really soon. I'm happy to report that we've achieved a significant milestone in the district, as this enrollment report signifies the first time we've had our FTE enrollment number over 24,000. We continue to grow enrollment in line with our predictive enrollment model. These numbers continue to support the task force recommendation regarding the construction of our new schools. This year's enrollment for K through 12 is 24,186. Breaking that down by grade level shows that in kindergarten through 5th grade, we increased by 60 FTE for a total of 11,720. In middle schools, 6 through 8, we saw an increase of 85 FTE for a total of 5,559. And in 9th through 12th, we had an increase of 51 FTE for a total of 6,907. As stated previously, this gives us a total FTE for K through 12 of 24,186. To put that in some perspective, if we grouped those FTE student numbers up and created a town out of them using the US Census estimated 2018 population, that would be the 5th largest town in the state. For our first year having junior kindergarten, we had an enrollment of 50, and our enrollment for the remaining pre-K was 1,063. This being the first year for junior kindergarten means we do not have a comparison year. Pre-K enrollment decreased by 68 FTE due to lowered number of available preschool slots to offset federal fund decreases. Our total pre-K through 12th FTE count is 25,290. On the next slide, we'll highlight our fall enrollment over time. Of particular note is that as we look from 1990 to current day, we've had a cumulative increase, the sum of each year's increase of 9,054 students, 196 of those from this year. This means that we've added 9,054 students to the district in the last 19 years. This represents the first time on this chart that the cumulative growth has shown over 9,000. If you were to group that just to the cumulative growth, we would be larger than every other school district except Rapid City. Open enrollment continues to be a net positive for the district. This year's open enrollment count is 995. If we take a look at that in a trend line over time, you can see that our enrollment, our historical enrollment shows a steady increase year after year. And finally, credit to those responsible for the enrollment prediction models. They continue to serve our planning well. As you can see this year, we were within 0.3% of projected from when that was projected in the spring of 2018 to today's numbers. So our growth is on track and even slightly above what we expected 2 years ago when the facilities task force recommended and the public overwhelmingly voted for the 3 new schools. I would ask that the board to acknowledge the fall student enrollment report and welcome any questions you have.
One question. When you were talking about the outside open enrollment, is that cumulative? So we're taking off any students who enroll out?
Yes,
Thank
that's
you.
net
I wanted
enrollment, open enrollment, yes.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No, I think we've said this before, but it's nice to have year-over-year data to show the continued growth that we were projecting. So when the bond passed and people put their trust in our forecasting of saying we are going to continue to grow, we have continued to do that. And so it will be exciting to welcome our new schools on board to help alleviate the crowding that will continue to happen as our numbers continue to go up. So growth is exciting for Sioux Falls, and other districts wish they had the same problem that we do. So
Absolutely.
And then do I have a motion to accept the fall 2019 K through 12 enrollment report?
So moved.
To acknowledge.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Our second report tonight is the 2019 District Demographics Report. Here to give that report from Community Relations is Deanne Conrad.
Good evening. I can't really take credit for all of the information in this report. What I can tell you is that it's a compilation of many of the reports you've heard over the past couple of months. This is our report that serves as an opportunity to tie a bow, if you will, on all of the data from the Sioux Falls School District, so that if we're asked to come out into the community and talk to a service group, or if a business wants to know what the Sioux Falls School District looks like today, this is the overview, the report that we would share with them. And it does get a lot of attention from our city leaders as they're making decisions, people who are writing grants for various things in our community as well. So it is an important snapshot. As we do, we start with our mission and vision. And as you know, our mission is to educate and prepare each student to succeed in a changing world. Our vision goes into more in-depth, talks about each student succeeding as a lifelong learner in a changing world, and that our district recognizes its role as a key contributor to the social, civic, and economic foundation to this community. And to achieve this mission, we hope to ignite the hearts and minds of our students, staff, family, and the business community and citizens. All of the reports that we present to you are part of our strategic plan or reflect on a goal in the strategic plan. Those goals and priority areas were identified a few years ago. There are 4 key priority areas: student outcomes, school climate and culture, district staff, community engagement, and then of course facilities, because we realized upon getting into the strategic plan that we needed the facilities because of the growth that we were experiencing that you just heard about. This slide shows in color the same information that Ryan presented just a bit ago. You can see how our numbers have continued to increase. This year we are up 196 students over last year. Our next slide identifies the diversity in the Sioux Falls School District. All of the numbers outside of the Hispanic numbers have fluctuated just by a point, percentage point. So very low fluctuation. However, I would draw your attention to the Hispanic number. Last year, we reported our Hispanic students at 11.4%. This year, we are at 12.6%. So that we continue to see as the largest subgroup that is growing in the Sioux Falls School District. This puts us at 60.8% Caucasian and 39.2% diverse, and that is a 2% jump over last year. For several years, we've been in the 1 to 2% area. This jump this year represents a strong 2+%. The number of English language learners spoken in or who are served in the Sioux Falls School District, we have 2,668 students, and those students speak a total of 91 languages in the homes. If you look at that in terms of percentage of total population, that is 11% of our students receiving English language learners services at any one time. And of course, we know that many students graduate beyond the English language learner program and are now back in traditional classrooms. Another population that we look at from year to year is our special education population. They represent 15% of the total student enrollment. When we look at K through 21, age 21, because of course we do serve 18 to 21-year-olds, we have 3,720. And if you consider all of those children that we serve from birth to 21, there are 4,095 students. And again, you heard Ryan make reference to this earlier. If you just looked at the special education population in the Sioux Falls School District, it would be the 6th largest school district behind Sioux Falls, Rapid City, Harrisburg, Aberdeen, Brandon Valley, and then the Sioux Falls School District special education population. Of course, we can't do what we do without an educated staff, and we employ 3,340 staff members in a variety of capacities. 1,807 of them are teachers. 1,218 of those have a master's degree or beyond. So that's 67% of our teaching population with a master's degree or beyond. That number has fluctuated just a percentage, but it's been holding steady for as long as I've been doing this report. And then another 1,301 classified staff. So these are the folks who are making our offices run, our clerical, our child nutrition employees, our folks who are doing custodial work and really can't survive and make our district run as smoothly as it does without their support. Another barometer that we watch closely every year is the free and reduced meal count. You can see the numbers on the screen. The top number represents the elementary numbers. The middle yellow line represents middle school, and the lower purple line represents high school. Those numbers are about the same from last year, down slightly, I believe 0.3% for our elementary, up a few percentage points at the middle school, and holding steady at the high school at 35.1%. Just a note for our community, you often hear us talking about nearly half of students in the Sioux Falls School District qualify for free or reduced lunch. We believe that the elementary number most closely depicts the truth in the district. For various reasons, paperwork doesn't get filled out as often at the middle school level and at the high school level. So certainly we're wanting, if those students qualify for free or reduced meals, we certainly do our best to get that application into the hands of the student and their parent. However, it often does not come back and is not returned to us. So we look at that 49% and believe that that is the most accurate depiction of free and reduced need in our community. A few meetings ago, you heard about the advanced placement and how well our students do on those exams. We had 2,695 AP exams taken by our students in May of this past year. 1,882 of them passed with a 3 or higher, meaning they earned both high school and college credit. 54% of all AP exams taken in the state of South Dakota are taken right here in Sioux Falls. So that shows you the dedication and commitment of our teachers to request that their students try a rigorous curriculum and potentially earn both that high school and college credit. Our students in Sioux Falls have a 70% pass rate. South Dakota's pass rate is 69%. And students across the U.S. come in with a pass rate of 60%. So we continue to encourage students to take those rigorous courses through AP to prepare them for life after high school. Another measure of success can be seen in our ACT scores. We recently received information that Sioux Falls ACT scores 23.0, South Dakota 21.6, and the nation averages at 20.8. And then finally, there has been lots of discussion about graduation rates. Our 4-year cohort, we continue to work hard on that, is up 0.15%. Our completion rate is down just slightly, but the 4-year cohort overall is 84% and completion rate 87%. And all of these numbers have been reported to you in individual reports. Again, this report just gives us an opportunity to capture all of those bits and pieces and put them into one snapshot for our communities, so that if we're asked to present information in the district or in the community, this is the snapshot that we will provide. So with that, I would ask that you acknowledge the informational report on the district demographics, and please let me know if you have any questions.
I have a quick question. Are we still the third largest employer in Sioux Falls?
Is that third?
Okay. And a quick question on the graduation rate. How is our special education population factored into that?
That I'm going to have to defer to someone else. I'm simply
Okay.
reporting the numbers that were previously reported in that. So,
And just that if there's a 5th-year student, are they,
they're in the completion data, I believe.
okay, so it could
Deb
be
is
higher.
prepared to answer.
So in that cohort group, if you're a student with a disability that you remained a 5th year or you were eligible to remain until you were 21, they're going to count against the cohort. They will count in the completer rate when they finish.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I think just as we look at our school, and our schools are really a direct reflection of our community. And so as we are all out in our community and going to whether it's restaurants or ball games or whatever, we can see the diversity changing as well, which I think is exciting. And I think we're only going to continue to see that changing as we go through the years. So it's nice to have kind of that pulse in making sure that we have different initiatives to try to hire staff that reflect our students as well. And so I think all of those things are so important so that we can really be reflective of our community, and also make sure we have the interests of all of our different cultures and students and teachers in mind as well. So thank you.
Absolutely. Great opportunity for us to recognize our community and see it in our numbers in the school district as well.
Dan, I love how this report was all organized. If there's a way we could have access to how this is,
You
that
bet.
would be great.
You
So,
bet. It'll be out on the website. I certainly can share it with
okay,
all of
it's on the
you for-
website. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to know.
Thank
More
you.
questions? Do I have a motion to approve the 2019 district demographics report?
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, our third report of this evening is the Capital Improvement Plan Update Report. You might remember that we're trying to use the second board meeting of the month to keep everybody up to speed on bond issue happenings. So here to present that tonight is Jeff Kreider from Operational Services.
Good evening. I got Deanne helping me out here tonight. So, no, not yet. But we're going to kind of focus on three projects: Memorial, Jefferson, and Ben Rifle. We're going to show you some video clips of that. Also in your packet are some site plans, floor plans, so you can kind of see some of the aerial and see what we're looking at. And if you want to go reference those, they're there. And just wanted to say thank you to Ben, because he kind of did the aerial, the drone video, and we sat down last week and put some of the wording in here. So thank you for the end group, and thanks for helping tonight. So with that, we'll get started. I'll just kind of talk you through it as this runs, and then we're going to stop. Then I'll tell you a little bit what's going to happen between now and the first of the year, and then a couple of the long-term things, and we'll go from there. So some of it may seem redundant as we go, but this is Memorial. We try to speed things up so you won't have to look at the whole building as you come around. But this is the new addition on the north side of the building. It's the music addition. You can see where it's at. We moved everything out. We kind of tried to integrate into the existing music area, move the entrance on that side out as well. We located the bike racks to the right there. So the road was there, so we got right to the edge of the sidewalk and utilized most of the space that we had without disrupting a whole lot. So it fit in really nice. This is kind of the commons area if you know Memorial, and we'll go right into the music area from the commons, and you'll see that here in a second. But we did some renovations on the existing as well. We use this as an opportunity to upgrade some of things. So if you look here, we opened that up. There was a single door into the music band area, so we opened that up. This is actually the old choir room that we ran the corridor through and put practice areas in. We were able to expand the TPC to our standards on this side because the practice rooms are right there in the middle. Close that off and put some more additional instrument storage in that hallway as well. These are two of the practice rooms. Second practice room. And they like to go to, instead of 3 small rooms, 2 larger rooms. That's what they suggested. This is a new orchestra room. So this meets the new district standards that we did at George McGovern. We put in the new monitors. That'll be the new technology that'll be coming district-wide into this site. And between the choir room and this room, we put the instrument storage, and that's what this is now. So the orchestra will have places to put it instead of in the rooms where they take half the rooms up. Works pretty well. Then as you walk out this door, you can see the old outside wall and the infill that we did, and then where the windows where we put doors in so you could access the other classrooms, their music rooms in there. This is a choir room. This is the old risers from the existing rooms that we moved in here. And so we utilize as much furniture as we possibly could, and all the new acoustic panels. And that's that one. So a little bit what we have to do there is we're just finishing up the final paperwork. I think the last change order was on your approval for $500 some. So we're waiting for O&Ms to come in, and then we can make final payment, and that'll be done. We anticipate middle of November to be completely done with that. So that came in under budget very well, so we're happy about that. So then we're going to move on to Jefferson High School site. As you can see, Southeast Tech is to your right. We're looking north on this particular site. You can see staff parking, main parking, building site, and then Ontario Avenue construction. This was done about a week ago, so lots happened in a week. So I'll kind of talk about the areas, but you'll see we'll fly over, then we'll kind of spin around to a closer view. Technology is great.
So those trucks are driving really fast.
Yeah. We had about 30-some minutes here, so I wanted to make it a little. So what's on the left is the gymnasium, the locker rooms, and the athletic wing. Then you'll see in a minute some writing come up to tell you what else we're looking at. And then right next to the gym is the admin, and then you'll have the main entrance. We're looking now towards Southeast Tech to the east. And you can see right there where the arrow is the first academic pod that they've started. So they're working their way from north to south. And that is actually completely done now, and they've started on the second pod and working through that. Now we're looking from the north to the southwest, and you can see the block walls have started going up around the boiler room kitchen area, and I think the staff dining. You can see the kitchen where that's going to be. The auditorium is to the left. And as we turn around, you'll see where the fly loft ropes and weights will be, is that skinny concrete piece. And then this pile of sand is in the music area. Don't slow down. But as you go down right now, you'll see the main corridor. That'll be the main corridor spline. They're trying to get that to the very end of the building, because there's 2-story block walls that go in there. So we're trying to hit that. The block has actually started in that area now. And that's the first academic pod. And that's completely, all the foundations are in on that one. And that's the main entrance as you walk in. And that'll be the main drive that's Marion Road, and as you drive up into the site, there'll be parking on both sides of that. The football field is to the far left, and they haven't started on that yet. So in a minute, you'll see the site plan, the drawing site plan that will kind of explain all the pieces. So hopefully it looks like that. So with that, what's coming for now into the first of the year, all the construction bids have been received, and next month we'll provide a detail of where we're at with that. It should be fairly favorable. I think you'll like the outcome. So we'll have a little detail on where we're at and what that's going to be. Most site utilities are in. The water, sewer, storm sewer have been completed. Most everything on Terry Avenue to that middle driveway up there is done for road, and they're working on the north portion. There's going to be some a first lift of asphalt paving on part of the student parking lot on the east half of that, and they're going to use that for staging so they can put the bar joists and steel and during the winter, so it's a little easier to maintain. Then the north football and practice field grading is scheduled to start, we thought November 1st, but looks like around the 10th, that week of the 10th of November. And the hope is they're going to start working from west to east and try to get the football field main and the tennis courts graded out so that they can level and get through the winter and get some settlement so they can get started there with some of the utilities and that next spring. Concrete block will continue around the boiler room, the kitchen, and through that area. And then also there's actually 2 concrete block contractors. One's going to be working on that and concentrated on that, and then they'll move into the music area, and then there'll be another one working on the corridor, the main corridor, the 2-story space, and then there's block inside those houses after they put that up. Installation of the gym precast walls. The gym is precast, so that's going to start about mid-November, and I think that'll go fairly quick, I believe. And you'll see how big, I mean, this is a high site. I don't think people realize how prominent the high school is going to sit on that site. So it'll be interesting. Even when those geopier drilling rigs were on, you could really see that from a long distance. So once that auditorium fly loft goes on, you'll really see it. And it'll look pretty close from Southeast Tech. Steel beams and joists decking will start in the gym area as a precast goes on. It's supposed to, the schedule for precast is like November, mid-November, but the steel is scheduled for late October, first part of November, and actually the first load has arrived already last week, so that's good. And we'll start doing roof decking in the boiler room area and the gym area as allowed. Installation of the auditorium precast wall panels will begin in mid-December. The auditorium is actually precast as well, so there's block, precast, and then block again. And then the main academic steel framing will start soon after that, and that's a steel frame, and then the steel joist will follow with that, and that'll be in December for the steel joists in that area. So they're hoping to be done with all the foundations by December, and hopefully we'll continue on at a good pace. So long term, what we need to do is we'll finalize the cost sharing between the district, Southeast Tech, and the Voice Partners, and that'll probably be this spring once everything's identified and done. And we'll start developing furniture and equipment plans that will be bid next fall, and we're still on schedule for that 21 opening. So with that, we'll move to Ben Rifle. You'll see some similarities, so other than the footprint, but as far as the progression, you'll see some similarities. This site's a little more unique. There's a little more water susceptibility for this site. It's just a little lower, and I think there's a little more clay. But as you can see, 41st Street parking lot building, and then our Hoop Road, and they're following a little bit of the same sequence of what they're going to be doing on site. So foundations are going in. You can kind of see the footprint of A3. He'll bring it up here in a minute. So you got A3, that's a single story. A1 and A2 are multi-stories. And where you see those 2 appendages on the right where those trucks are, that's the media center of the library. And now you're looking at it from the other, looking southwest from the behind. Those holes there are actually bathroom banks that they're dropping the footings so you can get the sewer lines up into the walls a little easier than having to try to fight through all those concrete footings. block has started on the A3 and on the east side. Actually, the whole perimeter on A3 now is up to Joyce Bearing. I was out there Saturday, and then this whole side is filling in. So they're going to start, and they'll start putting bar joists on those areas as it starts coming up. All the utilities, you see those little spots on the top part, that's all storm sewer pipe. That's all in now along Faith Avenue. So Faith Avenue, all the utilities, storm, sewer, water are all in up to our end of our property line. So you can see the academic wings, where the gym sits, where the football field is going to go, and the parking area. Okay, there's a footprint, so I think it looks close to that. But most site utilities are completed, most of the main sewer, water. We also have a lot of the utilities in the building, so if you notice, I don't think you did because you can't see it. There's a line with the white stakes that come out. Those are sewer risers, and the main sewer trunks are already installed in the main building. They are putting in the inlet boxes. They've got most of them in on Faith. They've got the tops to put in yet. They want to get the curb in and the gravel base in this fall yet. And they won't pave that till next year. They also want to put in the first lift on the parking lot and use that as staging area. Foundation walls and footings will progress from east to west. They've got the whole north wall in. I kind of said they were going to start through that, but they're actually starting down the gym, auditorium and gym walls now, and then they're filling in the interior footings as well. So this is all masonry, and so everything sits on footings. So there's a lot of that, and they hope to be done through, I mean, the real goal is to get all the academic wing up, through this winter. I think it's an ambitious goal to have all the block work. What they're saying is concrete block work by January 1st through the 2-story area. So that's ambitious, I think, but if weather holds out and we stay well, I think we're going to be on our way. The roof structure will continue or start once the block is up. There's a lot of bearing walls, interior bearing walls. It's not steel columns. It'll be on masonry bearing walls. And they've also received their first shipment of steel last week. So I'm thinking, they want to get that with the roof on and then start working down the 2-story space. So with that, what we have in the future, we're going to be finalizing cost sharing at Faith with our property owners. We've been working with them, making sure that they have access. We built a temporary road for them. And so that's been working well. We'll develop furniture and equipment plans, which will be also bid on in the fall of 2020. And we're on schedule yet for opening this on time. So, and on budget, I have it. So with that, I'll answer any questions you might have. And we have started the next grouping. I was going to throw that in here, but we'll do that on a future one. But we've started a couple of meetings with buildings and started the process on those. So.
Well, thank you, Jeff and Ben, for the drone footage. It's really fun and exciting for us to see that and for the public to see that as well, what's been going on. And I just want to commend you for, we've all been involved in some type of building project, and you make this very easy for us to observe and watch and check in on, because you keep everything in line, and we're happy to hear that everything's on time and under budget. So thank you.
I appreciate that we take the time to update, you take the time to update us, and I think it's important for the public and for transparency to see we're on time, and we're doing what we said we'd do. So this is
It's
fun
coming
stuff.
together. It's fun watching this coming.
Yeah, this is, from our side, it's great to watch the fast videos. Thank you.
Any other questions? None?
So with that, I think it just acknowledges the report.
Thank you. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the capital improvement plan update signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thanks.
Now, Mr. Vitt.
Okay, our final report tonight comes from the Finance Office. It's the first quarter finance report. Here to report is Todd Veek.
Thank you. Yeah, we're fourth of the way through the year, but the way the school year works, we're not, you know, we started really spending in September with most of our funds anyway. So we've, in the general fund, we've spent just about 14% of our expenditures. That's slightly under our pace last year, but it's way too early to tell what that might look like. In the SPED fund, it's even less. We're less than 10% of our yearly budget has been spent. And in capital outlay, that's a little different. We buy equipment a lot of times prior to the beginning of the school year, like, for instance, like computers. So that's ready to roll when the kids get there. So we're 41% expended. But in that one, our revenue, since we get it twice a year, most of our revenue in November and in May, we actually have only received about 2.5% of our revenues so far. We do know in the general fund, even though we've only received 13% of our revenue, most of that comes from the state aid formula, and it hasn't quite been finalized, but that fall enrollment number is pretty close to where we know where it's going to be, and we're going to be on the positive there, somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million, depending on where the final numbers come in. So we will be positive as far as that goes. SPED, that's based on last year's December count. So by the time the budget actually gets approved, we've got that pretty much locked down. So we know what our state aid number is going to be there. And capital outlay, our valuation went up a little higher than we thought it would. So we're going to be on the positive on the revenue for capital outlay as well. So like I said, this is real early on, but some of those big revenue numbers we already know because of the state aid and because of the property taxes. So we'll wait for the other stuff and we'll look into that next time. But right now I'd say revenues are in good shape and the expenditures we'll have a better idea when we go through the second quarter report in January. So I just ask you to acknowledge the report and stand by for questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Todd. Do I have a motion to?
Move to acknowledge.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I didn't need to do that in the motion, but I was just going to acknowledge, take a point of personal privilege. Allison Struck from the Education Foundation is here, and to remind everybody, November 7th is our first signature event, Public School Proud, at Raven from 6 to 9. Tickets still available. There's still tickets available, so reach out to Allison if you're interested in attending. Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.